All right, today we're taking a tour of a place you use every single day, but probably never see. The inside of your computer's brain, the CPU. We're going to demystify how it organizes all its data, and we'll use some simple stories and real-life examples to make it all click. Let's jump right in.
So let's start with a really basic question. Your CPU is juggling a million things at once, right? It's doing calculations faster than you can blink. But where does it actually keep the data it's working on right in that very moment?
And the answer? It's actually just one word: registers. That's it. These are like tiny, super fast storage units located right on the CPU chip itself, and they're the secret to its incredible speed.
To really get this, let's use an analogy. Imagine the whole CPU is a bustling office. In this office, the registers are your desk drawers. And the data, well, that's all the files you need to do your job. If your drawers are neat and tidy, you can grab any file you need instantly. Work gets done fast.
But what if those drawers are a total mess? Well, you know the feeling, right? You'd spend all your time just digging around for that one file. A CPU with messy registers would be just as confused, and everything would just grind to a halt. So yeah, organization is everything.
So how does the CPU keep its office from becoming a disaster? Well, it uses a really clever structure called the General Register System. Let's take a look at how it's set up.
Okay, this system really has three main parts. First, you've got the registers themselves. Those are our drawers. Then you have the ALU, which stands for Arithmetic Logic Unit. That's the main desk, where all the real work, all the math, actually happens. And finally, you have the bus. You could think of the bus as the hallway that connects everything, letting you move those files between the drawers and the desk.
So what does this look like in action? Let's say the CPU needs to add what's in register 2 to what's in register 3, and then save that answer in register 1. First, the data files from drawers R2 and R3 are sent over to the ALU desk. Then, the ALU does the math. It adds them up. And finally, the result is sent right back and stored neatly in drawer R1. It's a simple, super efficient little dance that happens millions of times a second.
But wait, with all these different registers, how does the CPU pick the exact one it needs? It uses these little digital signals called select lines. Think of them like a specific address. And for a system with, say, 8 registers, there's a neat math trick to figure out how many lines you need. It's log base 2 of 8, which comes out to 3. That means with just 3 simple on or off signals, the CPU can instantly find any one of those 8 registers. Pretty clever, huh?
Now, that set of drawers model is super common, but it's not the only game in town. For some tasks, a CPU uses a totally different system called a register stack. And this one, well, it has its own unique set of rules.
The stack operates on one single crucial principle: last in, first out. You'll hear this called LIFO all the time, and it's exactly what it sounds like. The very last piece of data you add to the stack is always the very first one you take off.
You know the best real-world example of this? A stack of plates. When you're unloading the dishwasher, you put the clean plates on top of the stack. Then, when you need a plate for dinner, where do you grab it from? The top, right? You wouldn't try to pull one out from the bottom of the stack. The last one you put on is the first one you take off. That's LIFO in a nutshell.
Now, in the tech world, we have special names for these actions. When you add a new plate or a new piece of data to the top of the stack, that's called a push operation. And when you take that top one off, it's called a pop operation. Push and pop. Those are the two fundamental moves for any stack.
But, of course, things can go wrong. There are 2 really common problems. The first is a stack overflow. This happens when the stack is totally full, but you try to push one more thing onto it. On the flip side, you can have a stack underflow. That's when the stack is completely empty, and you try to pop an item that isn't even there.
And to stick with our plate analogy, a stack overflow is that moment we've all dreaded. You try to add just one more plate to an already teetering, wobbly stack, and the whole thing just comes crashing down. It's actually a perfect mental image for a very common programming bug.
Okay, so we've looked at 2 ways registers can be organized. Now let's zoom out a little and compare 2 bigger design philosophies for CPUs: the accumulator organization versus the general register system we already talked about.
And you know what? It all comes down to a classic trade-off. An accumulator-based CPU is simpler. It's designed around one special main register, the accumulator, that's used for almost everything. But that simplicity, it comes at the cost of speed.
The general register system, on the other hand, is way more complex with all its registers, but that complexity and flexibility make it much faster.
And this isn't just a theory. You can actually see the difference in the real world. Just look at the number of instructions it takes to do a certain job. An accumulator system might need 5 separate steps to get it done. But a general register system, it can do the exact same thing in just 3 steps, because it can juggle more data at once. And fewer steps means faster results. Simple as that.
Here's a more modern way to think about it. The accumulator system is kind of like a single-player video game. Everything happens one step at a time, and it's all centered around that one player. But the general register system, that's multiplayer mode. You've got multiple players or registers all working together at the same time. Everything is just more dynamic and way faster.
So, we've covered a lot of ground. Why does any of this stuff actually matter? Well, let's wrap it all up and focus on the key takeaways, especially if you're studying this for a class.
So if you're gonna remember just a few things from today, make it these. First, be able to recognize the diagrams for register organization. Second, know what push and pop do for stacks. Third, remember how to figure out those selection lines. And finally, be able to clearly explain that trade-off, simplicity versus speed, between accumulator and general register systems.
Our little tour today really broke down into 4 main areas, didn't it? We looked at the general register organization, we dug into the whole stack and LIFO concept, we compared the different architectures, and we talked about the key principles that tie it all together.
Okay, one last lightning-fast revision to lock it all in. Ready? Number 1, registers equals speed. Number 2, general organization means flexibility and power. Number 3, stacks always follow last in, first out. And number 4, the accumulator is simple, but it's the slower option. Got it? Good. And that brings our tour to a close. But I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Now that you've had a peek inside and you know how the CPU organizes its drawers, what other amazing architectural secrets do you think are still hiding deep inside the computer you're using right now?
Thanks for joining me for this little explainer. Keep that curiosity going and never ever stop asking what's really happening inside the technology.